My heart is pounding. My legs feel weak, but I'm constantly walking left and right. My hands are trembling, but I'm waving everywhere. My mouth is dry, but I'm shouting. Fellow Toastmasters, dear guests, this is not a picture from the mental institution. This is me talking in front of an audience for the first time in my life. That day, I failed. Lack of preparation, combined with lack of experience, and with the power of stage fright, overtook my body. And I shouted, I stammered, and I shook. My message was completely lost in the cacophony of sounds and movement. My audience, completely puzzled. Later that night, my mind kept replaying to me this experience with every little detail. It was like an instant replay that's never ending. And it's every bad piece of your performance in ultra high definition and super slow motion. That night, a decision was taken for me. I would never speak again, or I would not speak again for another 10 years. This experience deeply scarred me. Because something more powerful than me took control and put a label next to my name, boxed me nicely, and put me on a shelf in a basement. That label said, with big black letters, never to speak in front of an audience again. That power, which I allowed to dictate my actions for the next 10 years, was the fear of failure. And it's so logical if you think about it. We've all been there. You try something, you fail, you get publicly humiliated, or so you think, and then you vow to never do this thing again. But beware, fellow Toastmasters. For once you allow the fear of failure to take over control of one area of your life, it becomes greedy. And it expands and expands, and it takes over more and more and more, until it affects everything you do. An important phone call, an exam at the university, a casual talk with a fancy girl at a party. All of these became triggers of very helpful reactions in my body. Profuse sweating, running out of breath, getting my face painted red. Fear of failure kept pushing me towards more and more and more failures. What started as a public speaking fiasco suddenly turned to be a general anxiety about possibly failing in whatever I'm doing at that moment. I learned to live with my fear of failure by giving away part of the control to it. I didn't rush anymore with the passion, with the excitement in the activities that I loved. No, what I did was I spent lots of time looking for any possible worst case scenario, any possible failure. But this was all about to change. For something else happened. My journey, fellow Toastmasters, led me to you, to this club, where I found out that there is a manual, and there is a venue, and there is a wonderful supportive crowd, and if I want, I can learn the art of public speaking one exercise at a time, building one muscle at a time. Sure, there was going to be a lot of failure along the way, but I was promised, as long as I keep exercising, one day I'm going to be so strong that I'm going to be able to stand up no matter what. mentored, encouraged, and prepared, I delivered my icebreaker. And I went home with a ribbon. And that night was the beginning of another change. A change in perception. Failure no longer seemed like this horrifying experience that I remembered. No. Toastmasters, one meeting at a time, taught me the most important lesson in my life. Failure is just a necessary step towards success. That's why we should not fear failure. We should embrace it for what it is. A learning experience. Failure is just a magical, nurturing power that helps us all become a better version of ourselves. Fellow Toastmasters, divorce your perfectionism, because this is an unhealthy relationship. Show it out the door and let it take all the common belongings, all the desire for perfect outcomes, all the preparations to refute any possible criticism, all the thinking about worst case scenarios. And once it's gone, never, ever, ever cancel a speech again. Never, ever say no to this thing that you are passionate about because of that thing that you are fearful for. Remember, if you ask no questions, then the answer is always no. And if you take no actions, the result is always a failure. A failure full of regret and empty of experience.
It's time for your questions, ladies and gentlemen. If there are any, please raise your hand. Joanna.
What was the speech about that demotivated you?
This was, it was in university. We had a debate club. And as far as I remember, it was abortion. So quite a hot topic. There were a lot of people in the room. Specifically, I invited a lot of friends. And I had a lot of even more people in the room than there would have been unless I had taken these actions. And when I went out there for the first time in my life in front of a crowd, I ended up sweating, shouting. It was this kind of experience that I already described. Yes. And then it would be another 10 years until I come to the stage and it was in this club. Or I want you to think so.
Is there any other question for Simon?
What are the secrets of inviting failures into your life on the daily basis? How you can overcome your shortcomings, limitations, and not willingness to leave your comfort zone?
The best advice that I can give, and this is an advice that I'm trying to follow myself, fail. Keep failing. Because if you don't fail that much, I wouldn't say that there is something wrong, but I would say that you would build little by little this perfectionism, and there will be these expectations by all the people, for example, even in this club, because they've not seen you failing. So fail from time to time. Fail, and it helps very much because first, it resets maybe a little bit the expectations, and second, it helps you reduce your anxiety. That's the advice that I can give. And also prepare well.
Thank you.
Do you like to ask some more questions, Simon? Then.
How was the second time that you come back to the stage after the scary day?
It was the second time.
After that,
Yeah, it was not easy. It was an icebreaker in this club. It was not easy, and my icebreaker was mentioned specifically this. That the last time when I was on the stage, it was many years ago, and when I went away from the stage, there was not even a single clap, and the audience was completely silent. So maybe people laughed, which helped me relax at the time, and the icebreaker went very well.
Quick one. How many years was it between your farewell and the icebreaker?
So that would be from 2002 until 2015. No, 2014. So not 2015 January. So actually it's 13 years. Not I lied. I lied because decades is better in a speech.
Thank you, Simon.